I tend to subscribe to the idea that you should expect the worst and hope for the best, but then also know that your hopes are foolish and futile, and then resign yourself to despair and failure. This may not be the healthiest psychological approach to life. It's not going to make you the most joyful person, but it inoculates you from disappointment at any rate. And that is why I didn't expect good news, honestly, to come from the Supreme Court's hearing on Biden's vaccine mandate. I wasn't expecting good news. It was worth fighting. We had to fight, but I have little faith in the court's ability to get anything right. So I was prepared for the worst. And for once, my pessimism was not vindicated. As you've heard by now, the court announced on Thursday that it was blocking Biden's vaccine mandate for private employers, effectively killing it for good. Even if the Sixth Circuit rules in favor of the mandate at some point in the coming months, which maybe they will, the Supreme Court has already made its opinion known on the subject, which means that this mandate simply has no path forward. It will never see the light of day. It might linger on in the court system for a while, but it won't make its way out into the workforce where you have to worry about it. Why did the court block the mandate? Well, you can read the opinions, which are actually worth reading, but it all amounts to what we already knew. The federal government has no constitutional authority to impose this kind of rule onto the American workforce. Biden cannot unilaterally declare that a certain medical decision must be a prerequisite for employment for every person in the country. He doesn't have that authority. The mandate was illegal. It was also deeply immoral, as it sought to violate the autonomy of the individual in a really profound way. We hear a lot about bodily autonomy as it relates to issues that have nothing to do with bodily autonomy, like abortion. But here is one where the phrase is actually useful. The president trying to force a needle into your arm, for any reason at all, must be an infringement on your autonomy if you have any autonomy at all. If that word means anything, then it must apply here. And on top of being illegal and immoral, it's also illogical. This point was not featured as prominently in the Supreme Court arguments, but it's important, even decisive, I think. Since the shot does not prevent the spread of the virus anyway, any even potential argument justifying the mandate melts away into oblivion. If the mandate could be justified at all, which it couldn't, but if it could, that justification would have to rest on the vaccine's ability to stop the spread. That's the only way you could say that there's any real public health interest going on here. But it has no such ability, not a significant enough degree anyway. And so the one potential defense of the mandate is rendered moot. So it has no legs to stand on. And now it can't stand at all because it's been shot down. Now, I do believe it's necessary to spike the football when you achieve a victory. For one thing, because it's just so damn satisfying to do. But two, because it's important to acknowledge the wins when they come. And this is a big one. The Daily Wire was first in line to challenge the mandate in court, soon followed by many other employers and organizations. Not enough. I mean, most employers were willing to just go along with it and not fight at all. But, we've been chanting "do not comply" for months. And it's more than a slogan for a t-shirt. It's a battle cry, and now a victory cry, and a banner that we're going to continue to march under into the future. Because too many people have grown far too accustomed to simply doing as they're told. Going along to get along, cooperate, submit, so they don't make any waves, so they don't draw unwanted attention to themselves. But if we're going to pull our society back from the brink and rescue ourselves from civilizational ruin, we need to rediscover the power of the word no. That's what the Daily Wire's mandate challenge was all about. We said no, and the no prevailed in this case. Now, it doesn't end here, because the tyrants will never stop exploiting COVID in an effort to gain more power for themselves. And beyond COVID, we know that there are many more battles to fight. If we will not comply has been our battle cry at the Daily Wire for years, for years before that. The battle cry, or rather the cry of surrender among the losers and submissives and bootlickers of our culture has been, this isn't the hill to die on. They're constantly accusing those of us who are in the fight, the men in the arena, as Teddy Roosevelt said, of dying on a hill. Do you really want to die on this hill? They sputter helplessly. And as each successive hill is reached, they always find reasons why it's not important enough to fight over, surrendering one hill after another until there are none left to defend. So to answer that question, yeah, we will die on this hill. And the next one. And the one after that, if that's what it takes. Because we've given up far too much ground culturally. And we aren't willing to be a part of the retreat. So we're standing our ground. And the great thing we've discovered about being willing to die on the hill is that sometimes you win, you don't die, and you get to pop champagne and celebrate your victory. Other times you lose, but you go down swinging, and you cause as much damage to your opponent as you can on your way down, setting the stage for the next fight. That's my attitude. That's why I'm here at the Daily Wire, because it's an attitude shared by the whole company. We won this fight. Can't promise that we'll always win. You know, there are going to be losses too. We can promise that we'll always fight. And that means something. I mean, these days, I think it means everything, really. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.